1.
Okay, let's open up the meeting of the Templeton Community Preservation Committee for June 2025. The first item on the agenda is the minutes from May 8th. We've had these and had a chance to review them. If anybody else needs a little more time to re-review.
I make a motion, we accept.
Motion to accept.
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Okay, thank you very much. We are now about to come into a new fiscal year. We will need to reorganize the committee, not yet, because there are still a couple of boards that we are hoping will appoint. We need a new rep committee representative, and they're meeting in a week or so. And then the Housing Authority, we've requested again to see if they had somebody that's willing to step up. So we'll wait to hear from that. Joanne Burden was elected and has been sworn in. George has been re-sworn. And I think other than that, we're all good to go.
Yep.
All right.
Conservation has their meeting on Monday to reorganize the board as well. So I'll report back to you on that.
Okay, great. So I guess that would, maybe I stole your admin update. Do you?
My admin update. So the Park and Rec Play Group held their cleanup event at River's Edge in Baldwinville on June 7th. And it was a very big success. It looks beautiful down there. The Baldwinville Apartments groundbreaking occurred on Tuesday, this past Tuesday. Dennis and I were in attendance. It was very nice. For those of you who haven't heard, Scout Hall was hit by lightning and needs repairs. It did receive prior CPC funding, but again, this is not our job to repair it, but just FYIs. And lastly, the chair and I have been in contact with the new accounting company, and we hope to meet them virtually soon, but we have not yet. So just right now, emails. And other updates we'll update during,
We roll through that. Okay, any questions or comments for Jessica? We'll keep rolling then. The next item is discussion of the CPC finances and current projects. Everybody has a copy of the most recent report. And we did, as Jessica mentioned, have conversations with the new accounting firm, and they were trying to get so they seem like they're up to snuff. And then we'll have a virtual meeting, and then when they have in-person office hours, we'll meet in person. But
I did notice some differences between the report that I ran for you guys last month and this month. So I do think some reflections have taken place, specifically Stonebridge being closed out. I did see those reflected back in the buckets.
yeah, so those will disappear now. Those that have been zeroed out, as everybody knows from the town meeting, that the Stonebridge projects were canceled by the voters. So those funds revert back to their sources. The Baldwinville school monies have all been transferred to that appropriate account. So that's why those are zeroed. We had the Grange Hall, the cupola should disappear. The Grange Hall bathrooms, the Baptist Common Cemetery, you can see those are all zeroed out as well. And then we have a couple more Baldwinville projects because we had like 4 different things named. So we're making progress on that. If you start at the top, you see we still have $8,000 in that conservation fund. We've had some discussion about how to go forward with that in terms of revising and resubmitting an open space and recreation plan. We had discussion with MRPC about doing that, and they typically have a cost around $40,000 to get one done, but they can provide some grant writing service for us. We need to talk to the select board about that to see if that's something they want us to pursue. And then these $8,000 could be expended either to help prepare for that, or, so that they gave us like 3 different options. So maybe what we'll do is revisit that, and then I'll have a meeting with the TA, and then she can decide if we want to go see the select people sometime. Because, and that's, obviously conservation will be part of that discussion. So that's why that stuff is still in limbo. We often hear about how such an old project could still be on the books. This is CPA, this is not the town's annual appropriation. So it is allowed for these things to reside over the year. The next item is the Boynton Library. You can see some funds have been expended. We will be getting another invoice, if we have not yet already, for the engineering firm that prepared the bid documents. The bid documents have been posted. They are on the town's website, and that is for the interior renovations and then some other work to be done there, including making it more ADA compliant or making it ADA compliant, rearranging the book shelves, and redoing the wiring to replace all of the obsolete wiring and to add, modern, data lines, stuff like that. So the project will cost a lot more than the $63,947 that we have remaining in there, but they have a bequest account where money was left to the library from the Nordford family. And that money will provide the bulk of the funding for the project to go forward, in addition to the CPA funds. So the bid opening on that will be June 25th. And so if anybody knows of people interested in doing work for the town, you have to follow all the town rules, but the information is out there. The more eyes that are on there, the more interest we have of contractors, developers to do the work, the better pricing, or at least better understanding of the pricing we will have as a town.
Thanks.
Okay, so the next item that's not zeroed out is the drape restoration project. Brian is back on track with that, and
I can speak to that if
Okay.
you want. In conjunction with the Grange Hall lift, has a little bit of funding left in it. So the order of operations is to get the lift inspected by the Architectural Access Board. And I think it's a state agency, and they're kind of difficult to get hold of. So once they come in and inspect the lift, then that remaining funding is going to be for the trim that goes around the lift, and then they can put up the drapes. The drapes are the last thing to go up after construction, so they don't get dirty.
Makes sense.
So it's an order of operations.
And would it be feasible that if he is having trouble reaching them because you can't, that you could help him contact the
I could
access
try,
board?
yeah.
If you wouldn't mind doing that, because that will help us close out these projects, and he is oftentimes a one-armed paper hanger. Thank you. The resurfacing of the tennis courts, that project should be zeroing out. We have the sign approved.
I'm just waiting for the invoice for the sign.
Okay. And then,
Candace not being on, I'm just sending emails to, the admins and waiting.
yeah, and so the admin has been very responsive
Yeah,
to
I'll follow up with that.
so
Yep.
We'll get more about that. The Dwelly Farm restoration is ongoing. They've had some more work in preparation for invasives removal. We can get an update from Carrie on that next month. The Houghton Park project, we have two items on that, because that was one of them is the monies that will be reimbursed when the project is done. Can you give us an update on that?
Yeah, I spoke to the grant writer administrator Graceland this week, and the DPW prepped the site, and the crew was installing, not Bob's crew. The other crew was installing the playground equipment today. So the goal is still to complete by June 30th.
Yes, and that's a requirement to get, then she'll have to get the reports in and all the invoices to the state by some date in July or whenever it is.
Yep.
And then we will get a reimbursement that will come back to the CPA for that. So, because right now we're only showing, like 27,000 has been expended. So did we ever get the bill for all the equipment?
No, I don't think so.
Yeah, because we paid for the paving and all that
Yep.
other stuff.
Correct. Yep.
Okay, so we'll stay tuned on that one. We'll hear more about it. Anybody that has driven through Templeton Center has seen that there's activity going on at the church. We've had our first invoice on that project for the
Yep.
mobilization and the initial work being done. You can see they've started to take off some of the facing on the pediment there. And so the way that works is the church is paying them, and then they send us an invoice, which we just got the other day.
Correct.
So that will be $30,000. That will be paid, and then we have also ask them to let us know what the anticipated reimbursements will be going forward so that we can make sure the treasurer knows that those monies need to be available in a timely fashion, just because it could be a big chunk of change. And then the final item that we have listed is the emergency management building. We expect an invoice for this final $801 because that was the work that was done to prepare the final documentation that recommends, what the costing would be to go forward with that. And we have shared that with the Templeton Emergency Management team, Mr. Curtis and Mike Dixon, and they're going to be reviewing and going through that as we kind of develop in discussion with the select board, of course, and the strategies to go forward on that. So that's what we have for current projects. Our funds, our buckets are all as they are allocated thanks to our town meeting, and you can see where the revenues are coming in on a regular basis. Any questions or comments about this report? Okay. So the next item then is the annual town meeting results. As everyone is aware, we got our appropriation article, and then there were two projects that were approved, both of which were recreation based. One was Houghton Park, and the other is at Gilman Waite. The Houghton Park one language was that there would be a submission of the monies will be available upon successful attainment of another park grant. Because we haven't closed out this current park grant, she can't apply for this round of funding. So we'll have to wait until this job is done and we're reimbursed, and then she can reapply for the next round of funding. Which of course is still dependent upon what the state does, whether the monies will be there or not. But the town has done their job to approve the funds, but there's no formal expectation of spending any of that money until we get a grant. The Gilman Waite project will go forward, and we will, once we have a representative from Parks and Rec, we can even go to a meeting and kind of talk with them, because of course I'm sure Candace will be helping with them, but she's now a select person, so she's stepped down from that board.
Okay.
Yeah, so anything else from the town meeting?
Yes, so I was just going to jump on top of what you're just saying. So the two articles for the recreation projects aren't reflected on your financial report, as well as the funding for your community preservation accounts aren't reflected on your financial report yet. According to the accountants, they will reflect that in FY26, which starts July 1. So the only thing that you should see reflected now is the closure of the Stonebridge accounts, which they were able to do right after town meeting. So they closed those and they reflected them back. But the other, like the creation of the new project accounts, will come in July.
Great, thank you for that
You're welcome.
clarification on that. So, yeah, and they seem to be on the ball. I don't know how many other communities they work with, but this isn't their first rodeo on CPA funding. Okay, so any other questions or comments on the annual town meeting? No? Is there any potential projects that anybody is aware of or would like to discuss at this time?
Do you feel it's sufficient if I take annual town meeting results off next month's
Yes.
agenda? Okay. Thank you.
I do.
We've covered it now. We're good?
Yeah.
All right.
Because the next thing you know, we'll have to put special town meeting on there.
Yeah.
But right now we're still looking on potential projects. I don't have anything to bring forward at this time. Does anybody else have anything they want to?
Well, the only thing I maybe would update is the Otter River Pool Dam. I've been attending by Mass Rivers Alliance the Dam 101 webinars, Dam Busters, I should say. And Heidi Reiki was on there. I served on the MACC board with her. And they're trying to change it so that the permitting isn't as difficult, especially for municipalities, people that have smaller dams that aren't functioning as flood control or anything like that, so that the permitting process, goes through is not as extensive. So a lot of these smaller dams can be removed and it would be cost saving too. So just to let you know, I am following that.
Yeah,
Awesome.
thank you so much for staying and plugged in on that, because someday maybe we'll get to that finish line. And I'm reminded now, thanks to that, is that we did hear, this is not related to us, but it is in per se, in so much that, the town has pursued a small bridge grant from the state, which would have been enabling the town to get some engineering money to develop plans for reopening the bridge down there, what used to be a stone bridge. But that was not awarded because it was a very competitive process. So Graceland got a denial with a letter, and they explained how it was very competitive. And, they really have a prioritization based upon what the impact of replacing the dam is to the community in terms of school buses, fire access, economic, et cetera, et cetera. So most likely it'll be funded again and she'll reapply. But, like all these grants, going through the process the first time makes it time easier, and other information might come in. So hopefully they'll do that going forward. Okay, any other things on potential projects? No, then we have an opportunity for any, I have no updates to share other than that, but is there anything any other member would like to share as an update?
No,
Okay, well, now we have listed here as our next meeting is July 10th.
Or August 14th.
Yeah, and then after that would be August 14th is the next one. Given that we're kind of going into dog days and it's right around, where a lot of people are going on vacation, et cetera, I was considering canceling the July meeting and then just reconvening and reorganizing in August. What are your guys' thoughts on that?
sounds good to me.
Yes.
I mean, it's fine with me.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Okay, so we shall then vote to we'll just cancel. Do we have to vote for that? And if something comes up and we have to have it for some emergency reason, which I don't project, we will. So, okay, so the next meeting for sure that we have will be August 14th at 7 p.m. Same place. Okay, well, been on a pretty good track these last few months of nobody getting paid overtime. At this time, I would take a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
So moved and
Second.
seconded, all those in